What is good, my friends? It's your favorite YouTube dealer. I was looking for some stuff to do a reaction to, and I saw that Nipsey Hussle, and I don't know who Bino Rideaux is, that how you say it is, but it's a Nipsey song. So I'm assuming, I don't know if this is unreleased, it's called Reckless, but I figured we should dive into it. Unfortunately, I never really listened to Nipsey until after he passed away, which is the case for quite a bit of artists because I stick to my small little circle for so long that I just never tapped in. Like I listened to Pop Smoke after he passed away, thought he was amazing. Nipsey, I think he's amazing, but I'm just a little late to some of these parties. So we're gonna dive in though and check out this new drop and see what this is all about. Is this a single house? For a second I thought it was like some kind of fancy hotel, but it's a house.
Fuck if I crash, don't save me. Driving this fast Mercedes, reckless with passion lately. Driving this fast Mercedes, reckless with passion lately. Yeah, fuck if I crash, don't save me. I know this cash don't make me. I know this fake don't make me. You know this game get crazy. I know this pain can't break me. I don't got downtime lately. Giving you the downtown lately. I ain't been around much lately. And you know I don't do no explaining. Tapped in on a different level, trying to get to it, and I'm not ashamed. Doubting who I was for a second, now I see it clear, and it is not a game.
I want to say something. This might be controversial to some people, but just trust me. This is coming from one of the biggest fans of this other person ever. So let me just make this clear first right off the bat. I'm not comparing him to Tupac. I am a monster Tupac fan. Tupac is my favorite artist, always will be. Nobody will ever take that spot because it's not just about music. It's about him as a person and just everything. And I get it. You know, he's had some people, he went to jail for this or that. I'm not, we can talk about that in my voice channel, my Discord. But for now, we're just going to talk about the good things. And he just was a big part of my growing up. And the things that he said in his songs were so relatable and understandable. And it just beautiful. So he will always be my favorite. However, I feel like there's a lot of time people get compared to Tupac because he was so brash or out there. He was just, I don't give a F. And you know what I'm saying? Just like, but also still calculated and calm and cool. Because when you see him in interviews, like he had a lot of knowledge, he had a lot of passion, a lot of things. And honestly, he did think of things and look at things in a pretty logical standpoint a lot of times. And he was way more perceptive than a lot of the people he was around. I feel like he was more intelligent than the space that he occupied, if that makes sense. Like I feel like if he would have gotten out of that lifestyle with death row and shit like that, and he had made it to an older age in life, I think that we'd be getting a lot of knowledge and smart discussions. And I think that he would be able to push and help bring things in a better direction because I think that he was way more intelligent than the space that he grew up in. And I don't think that he had gotten to an age where he was able to fully realize that and really embrace it. So I think that he was going to be that guy. That's just my opinion. Not everybody's going to agree with me. I kind of also feel that way about Nipsey with the little bit that I've seen of him, not just in his music, but just in hearing him talk and the way that he looks at things is different than Pac. But I feel like it was a similar, like it gives me a similar presence, if that makes sense. Like they're not the same person. They don't move the same way. They don't carry themselves the same way. That is very, very different. 100%. Tupac was brash, didn't really pay attention, you know, whereas Nipsey is very gang-minded. He understands the space he's moving. Like they're very different in those aspects. But I just feel like their potential impact in the future of their lives, to me, for some reason, it feels very similar. And it's the first person that I've ever felt that way like I do about Pac. And I'm not even as big of a fan of Nipsey. I don't ever talk about Nipsey at all. But I don't know. When I've heard him discuss things and talk, and even the way that he talks about things in his music and shit, he just seems like he's way more of a cerebral person. Like he's way more logical. Like he actually can think and break things down. Like a lot of people around him in the neighborhoods and in the place where he comes from just don't have that. But because of where he came from, and right, like he still has that attachment, which is what kind of led him, unfortunately, to the, you know, the ending that he led to, although it shouldn't have happened. It's not his fault, but like that's a part of it. I feel like, again, years later in life, 30s, 40s, whatever, 50s, like this dude would have had so much knowledge and so much to offer and to bring the newer generations coming up and shit like that. And so it's just really sad to see two people that I feel like would have been a huge turning point in a lot of different aspects of our culture that just are gone. You know what I'm saying? And it's very sad to see that.
These flaws that I'm dealing with.
That's my TED Talk for today.
Been through it all and some killer shit. Blood on my hands, but it's still a gift. Pressure made it hard to deal with you and no soul. I'm gonna live when it's over. I'm gonna do what I told you. Girl, I've been up that soul to make it hard to sleep. It's a lot on my shoulders. I can't let you take control of how I'm living life. Back in the day when you was down, it was for the hype. Why you still answer when I call you middle of the night? Off a pill, I ain't got it in me trying to tell a lie. Kept it real with you from the jump and I'm a better ride. Fuck if I crash, don't save me. Driving this fast Mercedes.
So what's interesting is I'm pretty sure that this was obviously recorded at 2 separate times. They just brought Bino on, whether he was initially on the song or not, but to record his parts, and they did it in the same exact house and shit like that, so it had a very similar feel. But you know, I was looking to see like is Nipsey in any of these shots. So this isn't something that was just recorded a long time ago and not released. I think they just finally decided to finish up the music video.
With you from the jump and I'm a better ride. Fuck if I crash, don't save me. Driving this fast Mercedes. Reckless with passion lately. Driving this fast Mercedes, reckless with passion lately. Fuck if I crash, don't save me. Fuck if I crash, don't save me. Driving this fast Mercedes, reckless with passion lately. Driving this fast Mercedes, reckless with passion lately. Fuck if I crash, don't save me.
It was interesting, and not to downplay what I think Nipsey could change versus Pac, but I feel like again Nipsey is way more like street minded because of where he comes from, growing up in California and being around that lifestyle, whereas Pac kind of integrated there and was becoming a part of, like, I guess you could say the gang lifestyle, but he didn't understand it. That's why he was brash, he was wild, he didn't realize the consequences that you can't move in certain, right? So I don't feel like he would have been able to get older and then really give that lifestyle advice, if that makes sense, like the gang members and stuff like that. I think that he was more so going to give just life advice for just the average person. I just think he had a lot of knowledge in the way that people interacted and the way that things went and stuff like that. Not that Nipsey doesn't, but I feel like Nipsey would have been such a huge proponent of really dialing back some of this gang shit that happens in our communities and stuff like that. And not that it can't still happen, and not that his death didn't push some of that in a direction that I hope stuck. I don't know because I'm not a part of it, but I think that him being alive for a long term would have been way more beneficial. But regardless, you know, we are where we are, and I guess you just hope that someone else comes along that can kind of push that same narrative and make some of those similar changes. So only one way to find out, right? Let me know what you guys thought down below. I think this was dope. I don't know what this is, the Marathon Cultivation documentary. Maybe I'll watch that, because I do want to watch some more stuff about Nipsey, because I've only watched very little on him versus I've watched every single thing that I could possibly get my hands on from Pac. I've read the books, I've bought the poem books. I want everything because I wanted to learn as much as possible. So I feel like I'm gonna have to do that about this man as well, because it's just like there's certain people that just have that component, you know what I'm saying? And it's just very interesting to me because the amount of us that are out there, and that there's only very few that I feel really give that kind of energy and presence and have that ability to make something change, is just such a small percentage of us that it's very interesting to me. So let me know what you guys thought down below. Take it easy, stay safe. I will catch you in the next one, home.